Hi, I'm Chase. I'm 33, a chiropractor with a clinic that smells like eucalyptus and tiger balm, and last Thanksgiving, my mom stood in front of 40 people, pointed at me, and shouted, "Pay the mortgage or disappear." So I disappeared. From the family. From the money. From every expectation they stapled to my back like I was born to finance other people's dreams. What they didn't expect was that I wouldn't just leave, I'd thrive. This is the story of how my mother's ultimatum ended their comfort and started my life. I parked 2 blocks away that day. Mullery Street was jammed. Wind cut sharp through my jacket as I carried in a pumpkin pie, 2 bottles of seltzer, and a familiar knot in my chest. Thanksgiving always brought out the "who's done the most for the family?" Olympics. Spoiler, I always won. Quietly. Reluctantly. The house was loud. Football on TV. Foil pans crinkling. A toddler screaming. I hugged my niece. Nodded at my dad. Dodged my brother-in-law Ryan, who never helped unless there was a photo op. Mom didn't even say hello before dropping the line. "Mortgage is due next week." No smile. No preamble. Just a reminder that my sister, her favorite, was behind again, and it was my job to fix it. "We talked about this," I said. "I'm tapped this month." 40 people paused. You know that kind of silence? Like the room was a theater, and the opening scene just flipped into Act 2, the family shame show. Mom turned, eyes hot, voice raised. "Pay the mortgage or disappear." Then Ryan, from the couch, still drinking his imported beer, didn't even bother muting the game. "Let's see how you survive, big man." That's when I laughed. A short, bitter crack sound. I didn't throw the pie. I didn't yell. I just said, "Message received." Picked up my coat and walked out the door. My dad didn't say a word. My sister Mullery stared at the floor like it might defend her. That silence? That was their answer. I drove home and sat in the dark for hours. The family group chat buzzed all night. "Mom, you made a scene." Ryan, real mature. And Denise, "Times are tough for everyone." "Mullery, can you just help this month?" And I finally saw it. The whole thing. How the help never stopped. The way I'd become their walking ATM with good posture. How every gift I gave turned into an expectation. A subscription service they didn't even pretend to be grateful for. At 2 a.m., I opened a spreadsheet I'd kept for 5 years. One column, who? Another, what for? A third, amount. Totals at the bottom. $72,480. I highlighted the number. Looked at it like it was someone else's story. Then I wrote one sentence in the notes app that became my entire strategy. "I love you. I'm done being a bank." Next morning, I put on my clinic polo, drove to their house, and dropped off the receipts. Mom laughed. "What is this, a bill?" Ryan scoffed. "You kept spreadsheets? That's messed up." I told them the number. Told them the terms. Told them I would no longer fund their lives. No temporary help. No cosigns. No deposits. No seltzer, no mashed potatoes. If they wanted a stable house, they could stabilize it themselves. Then I left. And that was the beginning of something new. Not a war. Not a collapse. Just the start of my own life, fully owned. The first morning in my own house, I made coffee strong enough to taste like resolve. I sat at my crooked kitchen table, secondhand, like almost everything I owned, and scribbled a budget on the back of an envelope. Mortgage. Utilities. Groceries. Clinic payroll. Taxes. Savings. Family, $0. It looked wrong. It felt right. The house itself was nothing flashy. 2 bedrooms, 1.5 baths. A maple tree out front that dropped leaves like it had a vendetta against rakes. The fence was warped. The porch light flickered. A ceramic frog sat under the steps, like a weird little guardian spirit. But it was mine. Fully mine. I started small. Cancelled 3 streaming subscriptions I hadn't used in months. Called my supplier to negotiate a discount on massage tape. Added 2 Saturday chair massage slots to the clinic schedule. Kept my gym membership because my back is my retirement plan. Meanwhile, the fallout hit like a thunderclap. Mom called from 6 different numbers. "You're punishing us. Your grandmother is ashamed. Family is forever." Then she slipped into threats. "You'll regret this when you need help." Ryan sent voice memos laced with empty promises. "You're walking away from real investment opportunities, bro. Pay December and I'll triple you in January. You're cutting yourself off from the network." I put them all in a folder labeled Evidence, Not Emergencies. Mallory texted once. Just, I'm sorry. I'm tired. Then a photo of a mortgage notice. My reply. I'll sit with you tomorrow. We'll make a plan. Without Ryan. Without my money. She responded with a heart. No ask. Just space. 3 days in, my mom showed up at my clinic. My receptionist, Leah, looked at me like, should I call the cops or HR? I shook my head. Mom stood there like she'd wandered in off the set of a courtroom drama. Nice place, she said. Paid for with our sacrifices, I guess. A patient walked out with a neck brace and smiled. Next week, same time, Doc. I nodded. Mom leaned in, dropped her voice. You embarrass me. Made me look like a beggar. I kept my voice even. You told me to pay or disappear. I disappeared. You set the boundary. I'm respecting it. She flinched. Like boundary was a slur. We can't lose the house, she whispered. Then make cuts, I said. Sell the extra TV. Cancel the gym memberships. Ryan gets a job. Call the mortgage company. He won't, she said. Then he doesn't live there. She looked at me like I had slapped her. Don't talk about my son-in-law like that. I'm talking about your daughter, I said. The mother of your grandkids. Who's drowning while he's tagging crypto bros in group selfies? She turned on her heel. No slam. Just a small, quiet click of the door. That was the sound of her walking out of my office. I turned back to my work. A patient asked me if eucalyptus actually helps the body or just smells fancy. I told him. Both. That weekend I changed every password. Cancelled every family plan. Closed the Costco account they opened with my name. Called the bank and removed myself from every shared billing account. It felt like I was deleting spyware. Mallory texted again. Interview tomorrow. Receptionist at a dental office. Pray. I replied. Already proud. You got this. She sent back a mirror selfie in a thrift store blazer. I got it. I stood on my porch that night and watched the maple tree dump its leaves like confetti. The ceramic frog stared at me like we were in on the same secret. It was quiet. And I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. It took exactly 2 weeks for Ryan to implode. First came the texts. Bro, emergency. BMW got repoed. Total miscommunication. Then the voice memo. They're making a mistake. I had a deal this close. You backing out tanked the momentum. Then the Instagram story. Ryan_King_real talk. Haters trying to hold me back. Watch me rise. You can't cancel vision. He tagged a motivational rap track and a location he wasn't actually in. Classic. Meanwhile, Mallory got the job. A dental office on the edge of downtown. Good hours, decent pay, free cleanings. She texted me a picture of her name tag like it was a Nobel Prize. I get a drawer, she wrote. With pens. We started a shared spreadsheet. No, seriously. Budget, real talk. She input every bill. I input strategies. She sold a stroller, a juicer, and the 5-piece patio set no one had used in 3 years. She canceled the streaming services, cooked from scratch, and even got a roommate, her old college friend with a kid the same age. And then came the big one, the BMW. Turns out Ryan had put the lease in her name. Defaulted twice. The collectors weren't just knocking, they were pounding. She showed me the papers. We sat at my tiny kitchen table, my ceramic frog on the windowsill watching like a judge. Do I call him? She asked. No, I said. You call the bank. We did. Together. She cried twice. I held her hand once. The woman on the other end said, Ma'am, thank you for being honest. That helps. Ryan didn't even show up to the lot when they took the car. He just posted a story. Back to basics. I like walking anyway. Then added a sunglasses emoji like he wasn't sinking. Mom called me that night. You humiliated us. You made your sister's husband look bad. He is bad, I said. At budgeting, at honesty, at being a partner. You sound so cold, Chase. No, I replied. I sound clear. Then came Thanksgiving again. 1 year to the day since the pie, the ultimatum, and the exodus. This time? I hosted. The table was wobbly. The chairs mismatched. The mashed potatoes slapped. Guests included my clinic assistant Leah. My cousin Jess, the only one who ever actually offered to pay me back. My friend Marcus from the gym who doesn't have family nearby. And yes, Mallory and the kids. They brought store-bought rolls and something better. Peace. Ryan? On a business trip. Which is what he calls hanging out with 3 guys named Trent who say, grindset, a lot and have no visible jobs. Mid-dessert, my phone buzzed. Mom. We're doing dessert. Anthony's asked if you're coming by. I stared at the screen. The old panic flickered and faded like a light bulb on its last gasp. I typed back. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm hosting. Maybe coffee next week. ... Then. Okay. Proud of your house. I didn't cry. But I did feel something shift. After everyone left, I washed dishes slow. The house smelled like cinnamon and garlic. My niece had taped a paper crown on the ceramic frog's head. He wore it like a champ. I sat on the couch with a paper plate of pie and thought about that night, 1 year ago. When I was told to pay or disappear. Turns out disappearing from someone's story doesn't mean disappearing from your own life. It means finally appearing in it. The Monday after Thanksgiving, I got to the clinic early. The eucalyptus diffuser was already humming. I turned on the lights, checked the patient files, and poured myself a cup of coffee from the machine that wheezes like it's doing me a favor. There was a letter taped to the door. From Mom. The envelope was labeled, For Chase, read in private. Inside. 3 pages. Handwritten. Blue ink. Careful loops. It wasn't an apology. It was a story. She wrote about raising us on a single income during the lean years. About how she stretched dollars, pinched pennies, prayed over dinner. She talked about the time I needed braces and they couldn't afford it, and how she still feels guilty when she sees my retainer case. She wrote about feeling ashamed asking for help. Then getting used to it. She never once said sorry. But she said, I see now that I made my strength your burden. I read it twice. Then I folded it, stuck it in the drawer labeled staff snacks, and got to work. That same afternoon, Dad booked an appointment at the clinic. Through the online portal. Like a regular client. When he walked in, he looked around like he was seeing the place for the first time. Looks good, he said. You filled it in. I didn't know if he meant the clinic or me. I had him fill out a form. Asked if he wanted water. Called him Mr. Adams. As a joke. He laughed. During the adjustment, he winced once, then said, You're good. I smiled. Google reviews 5 stars or I won't unlock your spine. After the session, he handed me cash. I pushed it back. You can pay online like everyone else. If you want a receipt, we do those now. He looked stunned. Then, and I swear I'm not making this up, he left a real review. He's good. That's it. Just that. 2 words. But honest ones. The most I'd heard from him in years that wasn't dipped in obligation. I printed it and pinned it to the bulletin board next to the Employee of the Month photo of our office plant, Gerald. Meanwhile, Mallory was thriving in a way that looked like quiet instead of survival. She sent me pics of her desk. A tiny succulent. A new wall calendar. Look, she wrote. No overdue notices. We kept doing the spreadsheet. We cut things. We said no. We let the house live or die on their choices, not mine. Mom and I had coffee once a week. Always in public. We talked about neutral things. The weather. The cost of avocados. The weird guy on the bus. Whenever money slipped into the edge of the conversation, I raised my hand gently like a teacher about to redirect a student. She'd nod. Adjust. We kept going. It wasn't perfect. But it wasn't transactional anymore. Then came the weirdest part. Ryan sent me a Google document. The title? Ryan's Comeback Plan. It had 5 pages of vague business ideas, a logo, and a paragraph that started with, Real men make real moves. I didn't open the rest. I left a comment on page 1. Step 1, get a job. Then I muted the notification trail. That night, I went home, made scrambled eggs with too much pepper, and ate standing over the sink like a contented bachelor in a movie montage. The maple tree out front was bare now. The ceramic frog had lost his crown, but still held court on the windowsill like royalty in exile. For the first time in years, I wasn't afraid of missing a call. Because the only thing I was on call for was my own life. Winter came early that year, cold enough to snap porch planks and make your breath feel like an obligation. At the clinic, business slowed a little. Fewer walk-ins, more reschedules. Everyone waiting for the holidays to pass, then for the new year, then for motivation to do anything at all. I adjusted my hours. Offered free. End of your back reset. Days. Patients loved it. One guy brought me a tin of cookies and said, "You fixed my neck. Now my mother-in-law can't say I'm avoiding dinner." By mid-December, Mallory's house hit a milestone. They paid a full mortgage payment on time, without me. She called, crying. "I used to think we couldn't do it without you," she said. "Turns out we just couldn't do it with Ryan." I didn't say anything too poetic. Just, "You're doing it now. That's what counts." Ryan, predictably, found a new audience. He launched a podcast. Grindcast, The Real Hustle Talks. His first episode featured a motivational speech, 6 misquoted authors, and a plug for Synergy Holdings LLC, his failed startup. He also tried to relist the house again. Not mine, theirs. The house that still had my name on a few of the old emergency utility accounts. He must have forgotten. When I got the fraud alert from the hosting platform, I didn't yell. I just forwarded it to their trust and safety department with a PDF of the ownership documents. Listing removed. Account banned. Ryan sent a voice memo after that. "You think you won? You're small. You're scared. You cut off the people who needed you most." I didn't listen to the rest. I just replied, "Boundaries don't mean I'm scared, Ryan. They mean I'm not your exit strategy anymore." And that was that. Meanwhile, my mom tried coffee again. Sunday. Neutral territory. New cafe. This time, she brought a box. Inside were my old retainer case, a stack of birthday cards I'd apparently never received, a photo of me in a clinic coat, laminated like it was a trophy. "I kept these," she said. "I just didn't know how to say I was proud without it sounding like a guilt trip." "You're learning," I said. And she was. She didn't ask for money. Didn't even bring up Ryan. When she started to, I raised one hand palm flat, and she stopped herself. We sat for 20 more minutes and just drank coffee. We didn't solve the world. But we didn't break it either. That night, Mallory texted me a photo of her front door. Wreath. "Welcome, Matt." A note taped to the inside. "This home is paid for by effort, not pity." I stared at it for a long time. Then I walked outside, breathed the sharp air, and looked up at the maple tree, now bare and creaking. The ceramic frog wore a new hat. One of the kids must have left it. A paper crown folded from a junk mail ad. I smiled. Turns out freedom doesn't always look like fireworks. Sometimes, it looks like a quiet house, and no incoming requests. New Year's Eve came quiet. No champagne. No countdown. Just me, a pair of mismatched socks, and a to-do list that said, laundry, patch, drywall, stretch. I hadn't heard from Ryan in weeks. Mom had sent me a single message on Christmas Eve. "We're thinking of you. No expectations. Love you anyway." I didn't respond right away. I read it like 5 times first. The "anyway" part stuck in my throat. It wasn't her old script. It wasn't a trap. It was just human. Mallory brought the kids over for a movie night. They fell asleep on the couch mid-credits. She looked at me and said, "This is the first time I feel like I'm not bracing for the next thing. Because the next thing is yours," I said. We toasted with off-brand sparkling water and laughed at how anticlimactic survival can feel. The next morning, I walked into the clinic early and found a note from my receptionist. "You've changed. In a good way. You don't flinch when the phone rings anymore." She was right. I wasn't flinching. I was living. And just when I thought maybe the family drama had gone dormant like a cold virus, Ryan showed up at my house. Middle of a Tuesday. No text. No warning. He stood on my porch wearing a leather jacket like it was armor, holding a manila envelope. "I need to talk," he said. I leaned on the doorframe. "You have 10 words before I close this door." He blinked, caught off guard. "Okay. I want to pay you back." I didn't laugh. I didn't even smile. I just waited. He handed me the envelope. Inside, a check for $300. A printed note. Starting over. Monthly payments. There was no return address. No contact info. Just the line. "I know I took too much. This is me saying no more." I didn't hug him. I didn't invite him in. But I said, "Thanks." And I meant it. I deposited the check the next day. It cleared. That weekend, Mallory and I finished updating our spreadsheet. For the first time since we started it, every line item had a column that said, "Paid by me." She cried. Not sad tears. Not desperate tears. Just release. We sat on my porch, her sipping tea, me watching the maple tree sway. You think Mom will ever get it? She asked. I think she's getting something, I said. Even if it's just slower than we want. I used to think keeping the family together meant saying yes, she said. Now I think it means teaching them how to live without your yes. I nodded. Boundaries are the new casseroles. We laughed. The kind of laugh that comes when your shoulders remember what it's like not to carry everyone else. That night, I found the frog under the porch again. The crown was gone, but someone had drawn a smiley face on its belly with permanent marker. I left it. It felt fitting. Months passed. Quiet ones. Good ones. Mom invited me to lunch again. No mortgage talk. No drama. She brought me a coupon for almond milk. Dad called to reschedule his appointment, like a client. He even said thank you. And Ryan? He kept sending checks. Small ones, but consistent. He didn't ask to come over. Didn't try to drag me back into his orbit. Just one time, he included a note that said, I'm working at a shipping warehouse. My back hurts. I get it now. I didn't reply. I just sent him the name of a good chiropractor near his zip code. Not me. Someone else. Because I'm not a wallet. I'm not a villain. I'm Chase. A chiropractor. The oldest. The son who finally stopped confusing sacrifice with self-worth. And when my mother shouted, pay the mortgage or disappear, I disappeared. From being their wallet. From being their crutch. From being the only adult in the room. And in doing that, I reappeared in my own life. With receipts. With peace. With my spine intact. And that's the best adjustment I've ever made.